All right, here we go, man. More verses, more verses. Just keep coming. And you know what? He's given me more than one a day. And sometimes I don't know. I'm not sure which one he wants out there first because, man, they're all so, I mean, what I'm seeing them just is so amazing. But you know what? It's weird. I was thinking about it. I'm like, okay, man, I really want to go over this verse. A certain one I want to go over. And I'm like, which one do you want? And I'm praying. And then it's so funny the way he speaks to you. And then I'm looking at some comments. Like after I made that prayer and looking at these verses and thinking about it. So I go into my comments and I just happen to see one of my subscribers, Pete. She said one word and gave me the number for it in the Strongs and just said one word. And it's so funny because one of the verses that I was debating whether to read, that word's in there. So there it is. He just told me in that way. I mean, it's weird the way he works. I mean, it's crazy. It's beautiful though. It's beautiful. I mean, he answers you. He answers your prayers. You got to listen though and watch. Listen and pay attention to His Holy Spirit. But I mean, that was kind of obvious. I mean, that was pretty obvious. So anyways, we're going to go over that verse. Got my glasses, should be all set. Okay, first I'll read it the way it is in most of our Bibles, then take every word that we can that's numbered in this back to the Strongs, and I'm using my sword, which includes Greek and Hebrew lexicons in that, and the Strongs. And it's the same thing in the E-sword, very, very similar, I'm sure. So here we go, man. Let's do this. It's amazing. And it's so repetitive. So this is Luke chapter 23, verse 34. Luke 23, verse 34. Then said Jesus, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And now this is when he was being beaten and everything before he was crucified. Forgive them, for they know not what they do. And they parted his raiment and cast lots. Those, I think, were the soldiers that were smiting him, hitting him. And they parted his raiment and cast lots after that. Okay, so let's take every word back and see what it's saying. Get a lot more clarity. And look, like I said, physical, spiritual, could have both meanings, both be true. So this is great. Okay. The originator and transmitter of anything. The author of a family of persons animated by the same Spirit as himself, who has infused his own Spirit into others. The gift of the Holy Spirit. Who actuates and governs their minds, who activates their mind, to completely see things from a different perspective by the gift of His Holy Spirit. And governs their mind of one who stands in the place of the Father. Right? Who stands in the Father's place and looks after his children, which we all are, when we're born again in the Spirit. Well, all of us are, but it depends on who you're following, right? Who stands in the Father's place and looks after his children in a paternal way, a title that is a title of honor. God is called, here we go again. God is called the Father of the stars, the Father of the stars, the heavenly luminaries, because He is their creator, upholder, and ruler of all rational beings. Sounds like He's calling the stars rational beings, and He's their Father. Okay, whether angels, so there we go, angels, or now men. It says whether, so He's talking about the stars, the luminary of the heavens, a rational being, and then it says whether they are angels or men, or angels that fell and became men. How about that? Because He is their creator, preserver, protector of all spiritual beings. So He's calling us all spiritual beings, whether angels or men. But it seems to be He's calling angels and men both the stars of heaven. What did Satan say? I will exalt my throne above the stars of heaven. Who are the stars? Took a third of the angels with him, right? Okay. Omit their debt. Omit their debt. Forgive them. To permit a person to leave and go to another place, but they are leaving destitute. We have left destitute. That is, without. Destitute means without the basic necessities of life. We've left the source of all life, God. We left the spiritual realm and we're born into a temporary, decaying, and dying physical realm to experience something, to gain knowledge about something, right? So, to be forsaken. So we're forsaken and we have went away from a place. Okay. To be sent away, to suffer. So we were sent away to suffer of a separation by which the union and fellowship of the two is destroyed. So our fellowship was destroyed. Look, when we're here, we have no knowledge of what we actually are, where we were. So the fellowship is destroyed by a physical, temporal place. It's where we are now. Where anything is taken by the origin of a cause to gain knowledge of good and evil. Themselves, through, all of ourselves, through the idea, there it is again, through the idea of the baffling wind. Backwards, so we've been turned upside down, backwards. Together of their own conceit. Altogether by their own conceit, excessive pride in themselves. Okay, and that was what was Satan's main problem there. Pride. For a reason indeed, seeing then what to perceive by the senses. So we wanted to perceive this by the senses, to discern what must be done, to look at and experience, now here it is, to experience a condition of being in this flesh, to know and get knowledge, to have regard for one, to get knowledge, to have regard for one, to cherish. We wanted to know good and evil. And all the commandments are brought up to love one another, to love, to cherish, and to love. That means to take care of and, help and everything else, just to love someone. Okay, regard for one, to cherish, to look on, so we can look on, to understand by allowing oneself to be seen. Allowing ourselves to be seen voluntarily, free will, by an earnest and more continued inspection, to see and show yourself physically, not by direct questions expecting an affirmative answer. So this is something we really couldn't grasp or comprehend through direct questions expecting affirmative answer. We can't get this knowledge. We had to experience it, which God forbid. Okay, patiently. So forbear means to patiently restrain an impulse to do something. God forbid us to do it. And we patiently restrain an impulse to do something, to refrain, to endure the absence of, and do without control of oneself. Someone who exists, to come into existence, which God forbid, what every man whom to make and provide a thing, we made an idol. We were birthed into it. Okay, to provide a thing for oneself, put forth, to lead him out, to do a thing and be cast out. We were cast out and into the flesh. Journeying of these things inside of here, to transgress the law by a single act, the very first law of the 10 Commandments, like I went over before. It was the first commandment. Once you broke one, you broke them all. By breaking that very first one, you've broke them all. Look, we've committed murder, because even if you think, and we murdered ourselves, basically, we separated ourselves from the entire source of life. So we've broken all the law, and we looked and we desired and we lusted after the things of this world. We've broken every single law. by breaking the very first one. Journeying of these things to transgress the law by a single act, to accomplish or make a thing out of something. And man was made from something else that's inside, I believe. But, there's more to it, I'm sure, that I don't quite get. But, just look at the whole birthing process and how the sperm enters the egg, and there's a spark there of life that animates it. But we've been separated now by this covering of darkness. So, by a single act to accomplish and make a thing out of something, but moreover, to be divided. We've divided. We've been divided. We've separated apart from a whole, and now we're divided. We're in something that's inherently evil, but yet there's part of us that is in there that is a child of the Most High God that has been covered over in darkness. But moreover, to be divided themselves through the idea of the baffling wind, a cloak of outer raiment. A cloak of outer raiment. Cast into the care of another, thrown down, and here we go, and scattered abroad. And scattered abroad. So we've been thrown down, covered in a cloak of outer raiment, cast into the care of another, thrown down and scattered abroad. All throughout the timeline, scattered abroad. A bit of wood, and here we go, like where it said they parted his raiment net. A bit of wood, so it's a small piece of wood that was shaken and fell to the ground, that was first chosen. He chooses us first chosen by an allotted portion of the ministry that was common to the apostles. So he calls us all through his word, and he calls us first. God calls us first by this show of love and care. And we knew, there's just a yearning inside all of us to know the truth, and he is the truth. Okay, so we were first chosen by an allotted portion of the ministry common to the apostles, used of salvation itself, which God has assigned to the saints, especially a patrimony, it's the word, which means property that's inherited from one's father. Property that's inherited from one's father. And what's he say in the Bible? Call no man on earth your father. You only have one, who is in heaven. Understand what these things mean, all these verses. He's telling us clearly. Okay, to break bread. So, to break bread, to be with him, to break bread, to sup with him, to go to the wedding supper of the Lamb, to break bread with him. It's beautiful. And here's what the Holy Spirit kind of put over me after I went through this verse. He chose us first. He chose us first to be used by God, by himself. Or we're being used by Satan. Like I saw in another verse, it says you have to choose. You're either in a good state, being used by God, or you're serving yourself and being used of Satan. Choose this day. Choose this day who you will serve. Choose this day who you will serve. Because you can't be divided. You can't be lukewarm. You either have to serve one or another. And now, thank God I got that chain. Man, it comes in handy too. I haven't ever lost my wallet since. But that chain, that's kind of funny. But we're connected. You're either connected to this world completely, or you're connected to God through the gift of his Holy Spirit completely. And you have to serve. You can't serve two masters. You have to serve one or the other. Now, we're in the world, but we're not of the world. We've been called out from this world and separated. So understand that. And once you can see it, and he opens our eyes through the gift of his Holy Spirit, and now you can perceive with your mind and understand what he's trying to put forth. And if you don't know these things, you're going to most likely take that mark of the beast and try to save your flesh. And this is what he's preparing us for. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. So it must be coming really quickly. Really quickly. And I'm sure there's a lot of things that are going to occur to bring that in. And we already see them occurring. So there's that. We're really close. But I think the catching away is going to occur first. But if you're still divided, odds are you need to be purified a little more. Things need to be made more obvious, even though he's in every book of the Bible, he's telling us over and over and over who he is, our loving Father, and who we are, his children who have went astray. There's that. It's simple. And he's calling us home. He's calling us home. And all those who want to go home, you know, and are looking for him and ready and rather be there than here will be called up out of here. But unfortunately, the rest of the world is going to have to be shaken a little more to wake up and understand. Here it is. This is it. He's revealing the truth. Right there. All right. Love and respect everybody. It's getting harder and harder. I know. And it's going to. It's going to, man. He's really the wheat and tares, the sheep and goats being divided. Okay. So there's that. We had to experience this, which God forbid. We couldn't answer it by just to answer an affirmative answer to a question. We couldn't quite fully understand. All right, so God bless. Have a great day. Bye.